Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Neo version of both the ToLiss A319 and the A321. I know that there's a solution out there already that uses the JarDesign A320 engine, and that was done originally for the flight vector, I believe, but you can use it for the ToLiss Airbuses as well. But the one that I'm about to show you is much quicker. It will take you about 4 minutes, and it will use only what you already downloaded in the ToLiss packages. Now, if you want to know more about how or why the solution works, it's not very complicated. I'll show you at the end of the video, but now let's get straight into the solution. What we're going to do is we're going to swap the CFM engine with the Neo engine for both the A319 and A321. This is because there's a sound pack out there already which gives you the Neo sounds, and that requires you to select the CFM engine in the ToLiss plugin when you want to use those sounds. So we're going to keep the IAE as it is and replace the CFM with the Neo. I'll explain in more detail why this works, but essentially all you need to know is that the ToLiss A319 already includes 3D models and textures for the engine. It's just not accessible from the ToLiss menu, so you've got to trick the ToLiss menu into thinking that the Neo engine is the CFM engine. And the way you've got to do that is you have to navigate to your ToLiss installation folder. I'm using the A319 here as an example, but you can use the A321 as well. You go to Objects, and then you'll look for two files. One is blades.obj, the other one is engines.obj. These are the two objects that influence the look of your engine. The blades give you the spinning blades, like blurred spinning blades animation, and the engines gives you the engine, the actual 3D mesh of the engine. So let's start with blades, since that's the first one. Open this with a text editor. I like to use Notepad++. I've enlarged the text for you here. Hopefully you can see it. So when you open it, this is what you'll see. It starts with some textures, and then there's a lot of points data. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to scroll down to the very bottom, and you'll start to see these animations. There's a lot of numbers, but you don't really have to care about them. Scroll up to where the IDX10 points end, and here we can see the first line that mentions the IAE engine. Then you scroll down, there's a line mentioning the Neo engine, which, as I said, is in the files, just not in use. And then there's the CFM engine. As I mentioned, that all we're going to be doing is replacing the CFM engine with the Neo. All you've got to do is swap them in this file. What this will do is when you select CFM in the ToLiss plugin, it will give you what it thinks is the CFM, but we've just changed what it thinks is the CFM. It will actually give you the Neo engine. So we're done with blades.obj. Now let's open engines.obj. Same thing here, start with the textures, go down to the bottom where after the IDX10 points, a lot of them, and look for the first entry that mentions the engine. So there are these two. We need to modify these as well. These, I believe, are the engine mounts. So basically, it's a hide animation. Anytime that, for example, taking the CFM as an example, if the CFM data ref here is 0, meaning that the CFM is not in use, it hides the CFM engine. What we want to do is we want to hide the CFM engine, or the engine mount, even when the CFM engine is selected. So we're going to want to change these to 1. Now, this might have the side effect of showing the CFM engine even when you use the IEA. I'm not sure, but the best thing to do is to copy your existing ToLiss installation folder anyway and make a new one for the Neo, and then you know that when you use the Neo, you're gonna want to use the Neo engine only. Now, when you scroll down further, you find another line mentioning the Neo, and if you scroll down even further, you'll get an IAE, and then even further, you get a CFM, and that's the end of the file. So again, what we want to do is we're going to want to swap the CFM for the Neo. So here where you see CFM, just put in Neo. And where you see the Neo, just put in CFM. And save it. And that's you done. Now when you select the CFM engine in game, you will see the Neo engine instead. Now, the way to make this experience complete is to install a sound pack as well. If you go to this website, which I've also linked to the description of the video, you will find a sound pack available for both the 19 and 21. Now, there's a free version for each and a paid version. The free version only includes engine sounds and cockpit and cabin effects, but I found that even that is a huge improvement. Essentially, you're using all the ToLiss default sounds, but you're replacing the engine sounds. So you don't. This is not a disadvantage if you only get the free version. It's just a further improvement if you get the full version. So I strongly recommend that you install this. I suppose the last thing you can do is you can go into PlaneMaker and open up the ACF.acf file of the A319. Be careful to choose the folder that you put your Neo in, not your original A319. And you can just go to the standard author, and just so that it's easier to find in within Xplane, change this to A319 Neo, because then it becomes searchable. You don't need to save this yet. You go to File, to Save. To show you this working, I've got the A319 loaded in Xplane. This has been running since I've started recording the video, so the changes that we've made to it have not yet been affected. So if we open the ToLiss plugin menu, we can see that we're on the CFM engine at the moment. If we go to audiovisual settings, change to IAE, you can see that the mount and the engine both change. Go back to the CFM, it's all the same. Now, we're going to leave it on CFM, and what we're going to do is we're going to reload the current aircraft. I have renamed it, so this might crash, but hopefully it doesn't. I've actually never tried it with renaming. Okay, so we've just reloaded. There was no crashing, surprisingly, so Xplane could handle the change in aircraft ACF name just fine, but crucially, we now have the Neo engine. Correct engine mount. We don't see anything that belongs to the CFM or the IAE. And yeah, that's how easy it is. Let me just explain why this works. It's not complicated, but you do have to do a certain amount of digging to find it. So the easiest way that anyone can see this without any extra programs is if you go to your engines, if you go to your installation folder in the objects folder, if you open the engines.png, here you see CFM engine at the top left. Bottom left is the IAE engine, but there is an extra set of textures unwrapped here on the bottom right. And you had no option of selecting a third engine, so what could it be? Well, it's the Neo engine. And again, you can see one type of mount, second type of mount, and the third type of mount. So this is what gave me the first clue that something might work here. The second clue is, well, it's not even a clue, it's just absolute proof. So if we open up Blender and we use the Xplane import script to open up the engine's OBJ file, we'll be able to examine the geometry that's included with your download. Essentially, what ToLiss does is it uses hide animations to get rid of anything that you don't want to see for any given engine. So what you get when you open these files themselves is a mess, basically. It's 3 engines in one. So let me just correct this quickly. There we go. So you see 3 engines. There's a small engine within a larger engine, and if we delete all the ones that we know are not the Neo, actually that might have been the Neo. No, that wasn't the Neo. And this is the mounts that we needed to make this appear with the Neo. So yeah, there are a few more things. For example, inside here there are thrust reversers for the engines, for the IE or the CF. I'm not sure which one. I think it's for the IE. So basically, there you have it. And this, you couldn't access any of these in game. So all we've done really is we've modified the show and hide animations to affect different parts of the geometry in response to a certain data ref. So it's nothing complicated, and the best thing about this is that you don't have to do any additional work. You can just use them as they are because they are already textured. So it really couldn't be any easier. Alright, so I hope you find that useful and you can make your own Neo. It doesn't take long at all, and there's very little chance that you'll go wrong with this. Once again, I recommend you make a new folder. Just simply copy your existing installation folder and do all the changes there, so you have a backup. And then if you change the ACF name, like the aircraft name in the ACF to A319 or A321 Neo, then it will just make it very easy for you to find it afterwards in the X-Plane browser. Yeah, once again, recommended to install the Neo sounds, and you will have a very complete little Neo package. And if you have any liveries for this, there's a good chance that it will already work. I mean, the biggest problem you can have is you can have white engines, but if your liveries are painted the way that I paint my liveries, then at least you'll get the base color intended for any of the other engine variants, even if you don't get any text or graphics that are supposed to be on that engine. That's not too hard to fix, but hopefully if people see this video, they'll start using the Neo variant more, and you'll get your liveries updated in due time. So once again, thanks very much for watching. I hope this helps you, and hope you enjoy your new Neo, and happy flying.